I'm a licensed therapist, and I want to start by saying something that might surprise you. Anxiety isn't your enemy. Let me repeat that. Anxiety isn't your enemy. In fact, anxiety is one of the most important psychological mechanisms we have. It helps us survive, it helps us plan, prepare, and care. When you feel anxious, it usually means you care deeply about something. You want to do well. You don't want to hurt anyone. You're probably conscientious, thoughtful, maybe even highly empathetic. And I say this all the time. I often worry more about the people who never feel anxious than the ones who actually do. So if you're someone who struggles with anxiety, you're not broken. You're someone with strong values. You probably want to be kind. You want to show up well. You want things to go smoothly. That's not weakness. That's heart. But here's where it gets tricky. There are certain habits that often form around anxiety, and these habits are not random. They're protective. They usually come from a good place, but the very things that feel like they're helping can quietly make your anxiety worse over time. So let's walk through the 5 habits I see the most and how to approach them differently. Number 1, seeking constant reassurance. You're worried, so you reach out. You ask a friend if they're mad at you. You double check with your boss to make sure your performance is okay. You Google your symptoms, or you check your partner's texts, or you ask your therapist if what you're feeling is normal. And to be clear, reaching out is not a bad thing. None of this is about shame. But when reassurance becomes constant, it sends a very loud message to your brain. I can't handle uncertainty. And your brain believes you. Let's say you send a text to someone and they don't respond. Your anxiety kicks in. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset? Are they ghosting me? You ask a friend what they think. They tell you, no, I'm sure they're just busy. You feel better for a little while, but now, the next time someone doesn't respond, quickly your brain is more primed to panic because you taught it that the way to feel safe is to get immediate certainty. It's like giving a crying baby a pacifier every time they fuss. In the short term, it works, but they never learn how to self-soothe. Reassurance seeking is the pacifier, and what helps long term is something called uncertainty exposure. That means sitting with not knowing, saying to yourself, I hope this goes well, but I don't know, and that's okay. You're not being careless, you're being honest. You're saying, I can live in this shape between clarity and chaos, and I'll survive. Another example, maybe you can check your symptoms online every time you feel off. You just want to rule things out. But the more you check, the more you reinforce that physical sensations are dangerous and must be solved immediately. Try saying, this sensation is uncomfortable, but I'm going to wait and see if it passes before reacting. That small pause builds trust in yourself. The second habit that makes your anxiety worse is staying in your comfort zone. Anxiety wants you to stay safe, and safety often means familiarity. So the more anxious you feel, the more your world can shrink. You start avoiding things not because they're dangerous, but because they are unpredictable. Let's say you're invited to a party where you only know one person. Part of you wants to go, the other part of you panics. What if I say something awkward? What if I stand around alone? What if I leave early and look weird? So you stay home. And yes, the anxiety goes down, but so does your confidence. You never get the chance to prove that you can actually handle the unknown. Or let's say your dream is to start your own business, but that voice kicks in. What if I fail? What if no one cares? What if I'm not good enough? So you keep putting it off. You tell yourself, it's not the right time, but really, you're avoiding discomfort. And here's what I tell clients all the time. Growth rarely feels good while it's happening. Discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign that you are stretching, that you are getting better. So, start small. If social events feel scary, don't sign up to give a keynote speech. Start by going to a casual meetup. If a career change feels overwhelming, start by researching for 15 minutes. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety. The goal is to show your brain, I can feel this and still move forward. The third habit that makes your anxiety worse is catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is when your brain grabs a tiny piece of uncertainty and runs with it. You get one vague email from your boss and you're convinced you're getting fired. Your partner's quiet for a few hours and your brain leaps to, they're done with me. It's not just that you imagine worst case scenarios, it's that you feel them in your body. Your stomach sinks, your heart races, you brace for impact. But here's the truth. Catastrophizing is rarely about actual danger. It's about emotional danger. Your brain isn't terrified of losing your job. It's terrified of the shame or worthlessness you might feel if you do. It's not just you're afraid your partner is mad, it's that you're afraid you're unlovable if they are. The spiral is often driven by the emotions underneath the scenario, not the event itself. So, what's the antidote? Emotional acceptance. Instead of asking, how do I prevent this bad thing from ever happening? Ask, how do I handle the emotions if it does? Let's say you fear rejection. Instead of trying to micromanage every interaction, try saying, rejection would sting, but I've felt that before. I've survived it before. I know how to take care for myself. That mindset changes everything. It's not about false confidence. It's about emotional resilience. Another example, you're obsessing over a doctor's appointment. You're scared of what they might say. Ask yourself, if I do get bad news, do I trust that I have the support, the coping skills, the strength to deal with it? You don't have to like it, but you can survive it. That's what helps you pull out of that spiral. The fourth habit that makes your anxiety worse is overplanning. Anxious brains love control, and planning feels like control. You map out your entire day, rehearse how you'll phrase everything in a conversation, organize your calendar 3 times over. You tell yourself it's preparation, but a lot of the time it's panic in disguise. Let's say you're preparing for a work presentation. You finish the slides, then tweak them 5 more times. You rehearse your points so much that it no longer feels natural. You start trying to predict every possible question. And when you finally present, you're more rigid and nervous because your brain thinks the only way to be okay is for everything to go exactly according to the script. Or maybe you're planning a vacation. You check the weather forecast 5 times, you research every restaurant, every route, every review, but now the trip feels like a chore, and the tiniest hiccup completely derails your mood. Planning isn't the problem. Over-planning is. And most people who overplan don't need help being responsible. They need help releasing control. Try saying, I've done what I can now. Now I'm gonna let life play out. One sentence, that's all it takes to start breaking that loop. I use this after therapy sessions, after recording videos, even after sending emails. I did my part. Now it's out of my hands. It's not apathy, it's trust. You're learning to let go of the outcome obsession and live in between. The fifth habit that makes your anxiety worse is watching the news all day. We are wired to pay attention to threats. It's part of our survival. But in today's world, that wiring gets hijacked. You wake up, scroll through headlines, see a natural disaster, political unrest, another tragedy. You feel a spike of fear, sadness, maybe even helplessness. You go back later, same cycle. Your nervous system never gets a break. You stay in a loop of hypervigilance. Let's say you check the news during breakfast, then again at lunch, then before bed. You're telling your brain, we are under constant threat. Your body starts to live in fight or flight. That's why you feel exhausted, irritable, tense, even when nothing bad is happening in your immediate environment. There is nothing wrong with staying informed, but the human brain was never meant to carry the weight of the entire world's pain on a daily basis. I recommend choosing 1 or 2 trusted sources, check in once or twice a day, ideally at the same time. After that, shut it off. Your system needs recovery time. You can't help anyone if your own nervous system is flooded 24/7. Another option is to switch to print or written news instead of video. Reading lets you absorb the information with less emotional reactivity. You're not being cold, you're being regulated. And a regulated brain is far more effective in creating change than a panicked one. So, I want to be clear about something. Anxiety doesn't make you weak. It often means you're deeply attuned. You think, you care, you want to do the right thing, but when anxiety forms habits that reinforce avoidance, control, and fear, it starts to ruin your life. You don't need to erase your anxiety. You don't need to stop caring. You just need to stop following every command that anxiety gives you. That's when the real freedom starts. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And for more content like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you in the next one.